Good evening. My name is John Wilton, and I'm talking to you tonight because Gene Layton and I were best friends for over 45 years. I've selected a couple of stories to tell you about Gene, and believe me, I could tell a lot. But before I do, I want to identify him for a moment. Many years ago, I went up to Gino and I asked him if, I told him that a friend of mine's dad played for the 49ers, and I wondered if he had ever heard of him. And he asked what his name was, and I said, Leo Nomalini. And he said, Leo the Lion. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for him. And I said, why? He said, because he played hurt. The other night, I texted to Lisa to keep moving. After I texted that, I was a little surprised because those aren't my words. It's not what I would say, but I said it. And I have to say, I wondered if Gino had somehow manipulated my texting to send his little girl a message. I don't know. But to identify Gene, he played hurt and he kept moving. One of the stories I'd like to pass on to you about Gino was many years ago. I drove down to see him a few days before Christmas. He wanted to go to a Christmas tree lot and get a Christmas tree. So he looked around and he found this little small tree that had no limbs in the middle and was undoubtedly the ugliest Christmas tree in the entire lot. And he grabbed the tree and we stood in line to pay for it. And I remember a lady looking at Gino up and down and looking at the tree, and she couldn't figure out why you picked that tree. When we got up to pay for it, there was this kid assisting the person getting the money. He was probably about 11 or maybe 12 years old. And Gene handed him the tree and he said, would you take this over and put it in my pickup? The kid said, sure. So he did. When we went over to the pickup, Gino handed him a $5 bill and said, here, go get a cold 6-pack of beer after work. Well, the kid wasn't really sure what to say. His mouth was open, his eyes were big, but he took the $5. Another story that I would like to tell you about Gino was his awards banquet for the football team that he coached. Now, these were all inner city kids. They were all black. I think Buster was probably the only white kid on the whole team. And these kids were hoodlums, gangsters, tough kids. But Gino had an effect on them, and they respected him. We got to the banquet. It was at Curly's Bar and Grill. And the mothers were, I don't think there was a father in sight, but the mothers were all there, and they were dressed to the hilt. Now, most of these mothers were hookers and drug addicts and tough life. But when we were there, Gino asked where some kid was. And the other kid said, well, his mom didn't want him to be here. So she took his only shirt, kept him from leaving the house. Gino said to me, let's go. We went to the kid's house, told him to get in the pickup. Gino then went to a store and bought a shirt. And kid was thrilled. We took him to the award ceremony. Gino told me that this night would be the biggest night in the lives of these kids, past and for some, future. It was amazing. It was amazing what he did for them. He paid for everything out of his own pocket, all the trophies, all the awards. And those kids loved him. So that was the Gino I know, that I knew. He played hurt, and he kept moving. Thank you for listening.